Alright, hello everyone. Welcome back to the Talos Principle 2. Okay. This is the come down from Silent Hill 2. Absorption.
In the beginning, before we built New Jerusalem, we used to explore just like this. Small groups setting out for the horizon, looking for resources, trying to make sense of the world we'd been thrust into, trying to find a way forward. It was a hard time, but I can't deny that it was also exciting. I think it's part of our nature to be wanderers. Our ancestors crossed entire oceans on flimsy wooden boats, just to see what else there was.
Is it weird to feel nostalgic for a time I never experienced? I just think I could have contributed so much more back then.
It's not weird, but it wasn't all sunshine. People died. Yemo, Calvin, Isaac.
I know, Al. They were family to me.
Sorry. Didn't mean to reopen old wounds.
It's a legitimate point, but I don't think it invalidates the sense of wonder we felt. That's what kept us going.
Proposal: bring back dogs. The red title says it all. We should redomesticate dogs. Our ancestors loved dogs so much. They insisted they were amazing companions, full of life and love. Man's best friend, and the lives they lived with humans must have been infinitely better than in the wild. Why not bring them back? Did you know that the poet Lord Byron wrote a beautiful poem about his dog, Boatswain? He said he had beauty without vanity, strength without insolence, courage without ferocity, and all the virtues of man without his vices. Is that who our Byron named himself after? No, he named himself for Robert Byron, the travel writer. That's great, but what about my idea? Great idea. Dogs are a beautiful creation. The resources we waste on our cats are bad enough, and you know what cats do to local bird populations. Do we really want to add dogs to that? Yes, we do. Oh, sod off with the cats are so terrible business. What do you think happens in the natural world? You think animals don't eat each other? I would love to have a dog. We would go on walks together, and it would be excited about every new smell, and we would play fetch. It sounds magical to me. Hello.
think you just picked up some kind of decryption key. Could try using it on those terminals inside the puzzles.
Why would I want to do that? Crossing. Okay, so I need to bring the accumulator back here. Ah, okay. That works.
There's so much history here that we can't see. The founder must have walked these paths hundreds of times, maybe thousands. Miranda must have stood right where we're standing. This all looks alien to us, but it must have been familiar to them.
Hmm. Okay. Wellspring. Okay. Wait a second. Oh, wow. Okay. And need to fill the accumulator with red. Okay.
The particle clouds continue to be exactly the same.
Okay, what is over here? Oh, it's a console. Okay. Lithosphere 05.
One of the most foolish illusions that commonly persist is that nature is a victim and humanity is a perpetrator. This can only be the opinion of someone who has not witnessed nature at first hand, who has not seen its immense and awe-inspiring baseness. Nature is mindless chaos and eternal
Field of view.
conflict. A system of predation and consumption whose perfect cruelty can only induce a terrified and unwilling admiration. Nature is our most powerful and least honorable enemy. A beast that consumed every last one of our ancestors and will consume us just as quickly if we are not successful in our struggle with it.
Hmm. Okay. Balance of forces. Okay, blue laser. Okay. Mm, mm. Mm. There we go.
Melville,
What is it now?
why did you upload a picture of your hand?
Why do you care that my hand is in the picture?
Your hand isn't in the picture, it is the picture.
I like it. It's very artistic.
Let's stay professional, everyone. It's not right to make fun of Melville's comically absurd inability to take decent pictures. She's a hyper-advanced humanoid machine, not a photographer.
You'll pay for this, Byron.
Okay. Let me actually... Because the accumulator has to go in there. Alrighty. Interesting design element. Noting some... Prometheus seems to help us want to succeed. The mythological Prometheus was a trickster, and it seems his holographic equivalent has similar tendencies. These sparks seem designed to allow us to skip puzzles, a function which appears to run counter to whatever intent there is behind this place. Still, the terminals for using them are right there in the puzzles, so Prometheus must have some legitimate authority in all this. Sparks can be recovered by properly solving the puzzles. Lateral inhibition. Okay, so if I use this as the source, I can bypass that fan. Yeah, I can't outrun that. Hmm. Hmm. Yes. Okay, now if I remove this. Yes. Okay, there's puzzle number 7. Rainbow. Okay, so Okay, so the question is, do I want color? Hey, what if I make this green? And the beams are gonna get in the way. Hey, yeah, I think this has to be red. Yes.
I admire your persistence, 1K.
Okay. Oh, that's a lab. Oh, those are just fans on the wall.
This is
Aye.
where they must have lived. Athena and Miranda. You know, for a moment, I almost expected to find them here. But the only thing that's still functional is the megastructure. I'm sorry. This must be awfully strange for you being thrown into all this history. But that's why I needed you. Because you're not burdened with all these memories and conflicts and regrets. Weigh on our minds like a nightmare.
A nightmare?
Our civilization is caught in a loop, 1K. We freed ourselves from the simulation, but now we're trapped again, and it's our own fault. We're afraid of taking responsibility, afraid of growing up. Instead, we make up some capitalized words and build up all these myths around them. Nature, balance, the founder, the goal. We're afraid to face the randomness of the cosmos, but equally afraid to imagine a better world. So we're stuck. I've been trying to find a way out for years. Something, anything, to get people to understand that we do actually have free will. That building a thriving, expanding civilization doesn't have to involve repeating the mistakes of the past.
I agree.
but I failed. Over and over.
And you think that what we've discovered here could change things?
Yes. Because this is something unexpected, an anomaly. Everything we found on this island challenges who we have become. It shows us that different answers are possible. And maybe that can break people out of the loop. All we need is a spark. Maybe that's why she made all this, the puzzles, the towers. A way of jolting us out of our complacency.
I hope so.
Thank you, 1K. I hope so too. We might be wrong, but let's be optimistic. Now, let's see what else we can find here. Melville, eyes on 1K's stream. Is this thing what I think it is?
Blow my fuse box. It sure looks that way. Best not touch it until I get there.
Of course, sound advice, but what is it?
I think it's a somnodrome. It's a sort of analytics tool for processing mental data that Malampus streamed up.
But all he ever did was sketch out the theory. As far as I'm aware, he never actually built one.
Looks like the founder gave it a go.
How does it work?
Well, what we know is that our deeper algorithms are hard to pass. Malampus stipulated that the computational power to interpret them in real time would always be beyond us. But in theory, the somnodrome would interpret that data and loop it directly to our senses.
People were hoping to find answers to the big questions by having a conversation with our own subconscious. If you ask me, it's solipsistic at best, and pseudoscience regardless.
That may be. But if the founder figured it out, then that device could be an extremely important discovery.
We should try it.
I would advise against it. You may have survived all those data stream overloads, but interface with that thing and you're liable to get bricked. Not to mention risking the data we could get from it.
Fine, let's get the data instead.
Sounds like a plan. Melville, I'm shutting this thing down until you can get here. 1K, get on with exploring the rest of the lab.
To all of you on this expedition, I'm sure you have questions about the Somnodrome, but I'm afraid I can't answer them. It was a dream I had long ago when I was a different person, and it has long since faded. I did build a prototype of sorts, at least of one part of its systems, but none of it ever functioned the way I wanted it to. Whatever Athena may have done with my invention, the truth is that I'm simply not interested in the affairs of New Jerusalem anymore. I care as little for Byron's utopianism as I do for Herman's religious pessimism. I am not sure I care about anything at all, really. In fact, I think not caring may be the only answer at the end of the day. Everything is transient, even the self. I've learned to let go. Please do not respond. I value my privacy. So I've been playing a ton of this old Gehenna game called Ancient Human Farmer. The title says it all. It's sort of a simple farming simulator. Maybe not the most sophisticated game, but I'm getting really obsessed with it. And I'm having some sort of emotional response to it that I can't exactly explain. Like, it makes me happy, but also sad. Does anyone have any idea why this is happening to me? The game appeals to you because of the human need to commune with nature, to live a lifestyle that's not about dominating the world, but coexisting with it. You're sad because we can't ever return to being who we used to be thousands of years ago, but happy because it reminds you that at least something similar is still possible for us. Maybe it's because the people of Gehenna, despite their imprisonment, had an innocent view of the world that's permanently lost to us. I think it's actually the opposite of what Ovis is saying. These games are enjoyable because they take us back to a time when we still had agency, when we could build things, grow things, when we could impose our will on the world instead of being completely powerless and inactive. What you crave is the ability to contribute to humanity in real material ways, and you're sad because just simulating it is not enough. You don't want to farm, you want to be a pioneer, as we humans were born to be. It's just a game, don't overthink it. I agree with Damien. I guess I can see your point. Thanks for the feedback, everyone. I'll go play another round now. Melampus, one of the loopier first companions, dreamed up the Somnodrome back in the day. It was supposed to help us visualize the black box that is our own internal algorithms, and so provide some kind of moral or spiritual insight. Never properly worked, of course. Apparently the founder took an interest and experimented further with the technology, correcting some of the mistakes Melampus made. Still a load of tosh, if you ask me, but maybe she made it work. From Thekla to Athena, beloved founder, wherever you have gone, I continue to have faith in something. You are our mother, our creator, the chosen of the progenitor. I am certain that this is a test, a trial like the ones you faced in the simulation, and we will learn from your example and keep the faith. Praise your name, Thekla. The anomaly is consistent. There was no error in trial 108. The error is in our understanding. We need to start over. From Miranda to Athena. I went ahead and ran the next set of trials anyway. I know you said to wait, but the data we got from the last batch was just too amazing. Every step leads to the next, like a progression of musical notes. We're so close. Miranda.
The singularity sustained itself longer this time.
Did we get the data?
We did. I think we just obsoleted quantum physics.
Maybe. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. We need to be able to replicate these results.
You know, I've been wondering. You told me that in the simulation, one thing that kept you motivated was looking for answers. Do you think that with the work we're doing, we'll ever run out of questions to ask?
I don't think so. Trying to understand the universe means asking the same question over and over. How? How do you make fire? How do earthquakes happen? How does gravity work? How do particles behave? You keep digging deeper, finding another set of mechanisms, another set of hows. Step by step, you demystify reality. But then, if you keep doing it long enough, one day, you run out. You've answered all the hows. You know how the universe works. So, now what?
You can move on to a different question.
Now you ask why? Isn't that the next step?
It's not quite that easy. The question of why cannot be answered. Even if it could, it would only be followed by another why. At some point, you have to accept that it all just exists. But there is another set of questions. What's next? You've stripped away the layers of mystery, you've laid bare the machinery. Now you have to start building, to add your own layers of meaning.
Are you okay? You overloaded again.
I'm fine. I saw Athena again.
Yes, I saw. It came through on your stream. Strange to hear her voice again. But that was her. The way I remember her. The real Athena. Not this imaginary founder.
How well did you know her?
I'd like to think I knew her well. There was just a handful of us in those days. Small family in the ruins of a dead civilization. It was hard. Harder than anyone else can possibly imagine. We had nothing except what Alexandra Drennan and the Institute had left us. Now that everyone lives in civilization, they don't understand how necessary it was for us to build that civilization. They can fantasize about living in balance, limiting growth, retreating behind our walls. They don't understand what it really means to live in the wilderness. How close we came to not making it. How many people we lost. Yema was just the first. But Athena understood. She believed in humanity. She believed in us. In the inherent value of consciousness. Her dreams were so much bigger. She wanted us to reclaim the Earth, to reach for the stars, to build and grow and learn.
Why did she leave?
I don't know. I understand why she became frustrated when the city started thinking more about itself than about the future. It was frustrating for all of us. But we were still fighting for that future together. What I don't understand is why she didn't tell me. If she came here to do all this, why didn't she bring me along?
She did what she thought she had to.
She did. She must have. I just don't understand. But if all this is a test, maybe there's an answer waiting for us in the megastructure. Speaking of which, let's get back to exploring. Melville should have reconnected the next station by now.
Remember. Hmm. Okay. Okay, so I need to set something on the crate. Oh. Consume. From an interview with a protester outside the Institute for Applied Nomadics. Why did you join this protest? Artificial intelligence is inherently dangerous to this planet's ecosystem. Defending that ecosystem is our responsibility. In which way is artificial intelligence dangerous? I'm not some paranoid idiot imagining Skynet taking over the world, alright? That's science fiction, but what we're talking about here is an artificial intelligence between, say, without any of the attachment we have to the natural world. It is not capable of distinguishing between, say, an ore and a tree. Everything's just resources to it. People like Sarabai or Drennan talk about ethics and philosophy, but they all embrace the same extractivist ethos that has brought us to the brink of disaster. Their intelligent being would try to optimize the world in its image, and in doing so consume it. So far, they're saying it's all theoretical. The atom bomb was theoretical at first, too. Once something is there, someone's going to use it. Why couldn't they imagine that we might care about the world? I don't know, maybe because they were too used to no one else caring. From my Patient's Journals, Volume 1, The Founding of New Jerusalem, Day 200. Construction on our new home is coming along nicely. We finished 2 new buildings last week, and this week we started on our new lodgings. Athena and Cornelius have plans to erect a tower in the middle of the settlement, which will serve as our administrative center and main heliport. Right now, that's still a long ways off. Decades at the least. Hard to imagine that one day we'll be able to erect structures like that there will be enough of us to need that much space. But then I look at the dam and I remind myself, our ancestors built that with their short lifespans and soft flesh and bone bodies. Then I think that there's really no limit to what we can achieve, given enough time, patience, and the capacity to dream. Oh, whoops.
Strap in, this is a long one. You may have heard the story of the carpenter who died to redeem humanity's sins. It's a powerful story, bittersweet, very human, and I just want to tell you that it's true. He was a real person, and his name was John. John Carpenter. He was born in the year 1948, and he was the coolest filmmaker to ever walk the earth. From Halloween to The Thing to They Live, the totally underrated In the Mouth of Madness, mind you, He just made classic after classic. All of his movies, really fun, really atmospheric, but also really smart. Even when they were goofy, most directors would kill to have made just one of those movies. And what did he get for it? A big, fat truckload of nothing. Well, less than nothing. The studios, the critics, even the fans, they hated him. The Thing, okay, for example, which is about as perfect a movie as you can make, completely torn to shreds. And his career never really recovered. Every movie after that was a struggle, and after a while, he just got tired of it and quit. He only really came back to movies in his 70s. How many works of genius did we never get because of that? Look, I have a point here. People like Carpenter, people like Alex, they're not always appreciated in their own time. If you just do what's popular, you might never create anything important. Of course, we admire people who did the right thing, who didn't conform, but we only ever admire them after the fact. What matters is to support people when it's difficult.
And yet it moves. Fascinating story I discovered in the archives. In the archive concerns a great scientist by the name of Galileo. This remarkable man made huge contributions to the early development of science, but was best remembered for becoming embroiled in a controversy with the church that ended with accusations of heresy, a trial, and him being placed under house arrest for the rest of his life. Cause of the controversy, he argued that the Earth revolved around the sun, a view we would describe as self-evident, and which the Inquisition described as foolish and absurd in philosophy and formally heretical. This story became emblematic for how society often punishes those who try to push our understanding of the world forward. Something in the modern day. There's a legend that at the end of his trial he muttered, "And yet it moves." A beautiful idea, but untrue, because defying society is hard. It comes at a high cost, and not everyone is capable of bearing it. What would you have done in his place? What would I? Miku, 166. I think I would have tried to stand up for the truth. It's harder than it sounds. Fighting an authority like Elohim is one thing, but when even your friends and allies may renounce you for holding an unacceptable opinion, it takes enormous willpower to continue. But if nobody does it, society gets stuck. Puzzled. The role of puzzles in the simulation was so important to the creation of our civilization that it has left an indelible imprint. But sometimes I worry that this is an issue. Alexandra Drennan thought of human beings as problem solvers, but the real world isn't anything like the simulation. Yes, there are problems to solve, but there isn't a tetromino waiting to reward you. There's just another problem, and another, and another. Our veneration of the puzzle may be blinding us to the fact that sometimes there isn't a neat solution, that sometimes life is just a slog and the best you can do is muddle through. Uo. What? God damn it. From Aurora to Athena. Dear Athena, have you really left us for good without even saying goodbye? I know we haven't spoken much lately, but isn't that just part of the slow, relaxed lives we now lead? After all those centuries of struggle trying to build New Jerusalem, I thought we deserved a rest. And if that disappointed you, why didn't you say so? I know you disapprove of all those silly titles they give us now, but we really were your first companions. We know what it was like. I was there when Yemo died. I remember the horror of realizing there was no way of bringing him back. The impossible finality of it, and then the determination to make it make sense, to have it be part of a story that leads to a better world. I never abandoned that, Athena. I just thought that maybe I could spend some time on the things that make life worth living, too. Maybe I lost track. Maybe I failed you. I don't know, because you didn't tell me. Aurora. Hey, is this... Yes, the statue of Prometheus is over here. That is pointing... north west. It's pointing west-northwest towards puzzle 6.
Utopia is impossible, but the future that is possible will seem like a dream to those who are alive now.
A. Okay, head towards. Huh? Okay, so it's somewhere in there. Ah, I see a. Okay. Okay, it's over there.
Sometimes it seems the only choices we have are renouncing civilization or mindless expansion. But that's not the only path forward. Embracing deliberate control over nature doesn't have to mean destruction. We are a species of artists and artisans, blessed with the ability to transform the raw material of the cosmos into new and better shapes. Shapes that have meaning. With our technology, we can take this chaotic world, so full of suffering, and turn it into a work of art.
No. Ah, there it is. May need to look at that closer up. But yeah, I'm gonna turn this on, finish the area, get that star from the Sphinx, and then be done.
Halt, creature of clay. You have taken another step towards the flame. Before you continue, ask yourself, have the gifts of Prometheus ever truly benefited your people? Or have they brought nothing but strife?
Without his gifts, we would no longer even exist.
Without Prometheus, your ancestors would never have fallen. And you would have all the natural gifts that your people have now lost.
We have gained as much as we have lost.
And yet you may lose everything before the end. Consider this as you continue your quest.
thinking. There's 3 towers per cardinal direction and 3 entities. You'd think it would be symmetrically arranged. 1 tower per entity, right? But we haven't seen Prometheus at all.
We're built to find patterns. Maybe we're trying to find patterns where there aren't any.
Ah, okay, there's a third one. It's somewhere over here. There it is. Alright, gonna head out from here to the third northern area. That's where I'm gonna call it for tonight.
None may know what came first, error or sin, and yet every choice depends on it.
Lost marshes. The northeastern marshes of the island have been mostly lost to the sea with the exception of this small patch of land.
This area looks flooded as well.
Our ancestors melted a whole lot of ice. After they died, most coastal settlements were claimed by the sea. South of New Jerusalem, there's a whole city under the water. We went there once with Garrus, when I was an apprentice. It was eerie.
That's exactly why the founder created the goal. When you go past the limits, this is what happens. Mother Nature always gets her revenge in the end.
This isn't revenge, Al. It's just failure. People, cities, mountains. As far as the sea is concerned, it's all the same. Their mistake was forgetting that, telling themselves nothing would change. It always does.
Alright, so that is it. I'm done for tonight. I'll be back tomorrow with, I think, I'm going to aim for more Silent Hill 2 remake since I started making a dent in the prison tonight. And yeah, we'll see where it continues from there. So yeah, that is it. Thank you all for watching. Have a good night and have a good Monday. Bye-bye.